Today, we're diving into a major update that every senior across the United States needs to know about. The new Social Security payment chart for 2026 has just been released, and many Americans are in shock after realizing that their expected monthly amount isn't quite what they thought. If you depend on your Social Security SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, this is the kind of update that could directly affect your wallet, your retirement plans, and even your daily living budget. So let's talk clearly about what's changed, what the new chart shows, and what it really means for you. To start with, the Social Security Administration adjusts payments each year based on the cost of living increase, known as the COLA. This adjustment is supposed to help seniors keep up with inflation, but for 2026, things have turned out differently than expected. The new COLA increase is smaller than what many predicted earlier this year. After months of speculation, the official number came in lower because inflation has cooled compared to 2025 levels. That means that while prices are still high for food, rent, and utilities, the automatic boost to your monthly check will not be as strong as last year's. For most retirees, this change translates to a smaller bump, one that might not fully cover rising costs. Many people expected an increase closer to 3%, but the final adjustment lands closer to 2%. It may not sound like much, but for someone living on a fixed income, that difference can mean less breathing room at the end of each month. The new Social Security chart now reflects those revised amounts, and the updated figures are what millions of seniors will start seeing in their benefit notices as we move into 2026. Let's break this down in simple terms. Social Security payments are based on a person's lifetime earnings, age at retirement, and the type of benefit they receive. But with this new chart, the base amounts have been recalculated with the new COLA factored in. For example, someone receiving around $1,800 a month in 2025 might now see a payment closer to $1,836 per month in 2026. On paper, it's an increase, but when you consider the cost of groceries, prescription medication, and gas prices, that extra $36 a month doesn't stretch very far. That's why so many seniors are saying their increase feels more like a decrease once real expenses are factored in. Another part of this update involves how taxes and deductions affect your actual take-home benefit. Many people don't realize that their Social Security benefits can be taxed depending on their total income. If you have a pension, savings interest, or part-time work, your benefit could be partially taxed by the federal government. The new chart now includes more detailed income brackets showing how taxes might reduce your final amount. This is one of the reasons some seniors are getting smaller deposits than they expected, even though their gross benefit amount went up slightly. Now let's talk about Supplemental Security Income, or SSI. For millions of low-income seniors and disabled adults, SSI is a lifeline. The maximum federal SSI payment has also been adjusted, but again, the increase is modest. The new chart shows a small rise, just a few dollars per month, because the COLA formula for SSI mirrors that of standard Social Security benefits. That means if inflation cools, the boost shrinks too. Many SSI recipients were hoping for a bigger raise to offset rising rent and medical costs, but this year's update will likely feel underwhelming. For SSDI beneficiaries, the story is similar. Disability recipients will see the same COLA percentage increase, but the base calculation depends on their work history before disability. So, the new SSDI payment chart now lists updated averages based on the same 2% adjustment. However, one small silver lining is that new applicants in 2026 will have slightly higher income thresholds to qualify, meaning they can earn a little more without losing their eligibility. Veterans and VA beneficiaries will also be affected because VA disability payments are tied to the same cost of living adjustment used by Social Security. The Department of Veterans Affairs uses the same percentage increase, so if Social Security goes up 2%, VA disability payments do the same. The new VA chart confirms this alignment, so veterans will receive identical percentage raises beginning in January 2026. But here's where things get confusing for many seniors. When they open their Social Security statements or look online at their payment schedule, the numbers they see don't always match what they thought they'd receive. This happens for several reasons. First, Medicare Part B premiums are deducted from Social Security checks for most beneficiaries, and those premiums are also rising. So even though your gross benefit increases slightly, your net payment, the amount that actually lands in your account, could be lower if Medicare premiums go up more than your COLA adjustment. That's one of the biggest surprises this year. The Medicare premium hike has eaten up most of the COLA gain for many retirees. To give an example, if your Social Security check increased by $36, but your Medicare premium went up by $30, you're really only seeing about a $6 boost. That's barely enough to buy a few gallons of milk or a single prescription refill. This is why the phrase, "your amount is not what you think," perfectly describes what's happening with this new chart. On paper, it looks like an increase, but in reality, many seniors will have less extra money than expected. The payment schedule itself also remains the same, which means benefits will continue to be sent out based on your birth date. People born between the 1st and 10th of the month receive their payments on the 2nd Wednesday, those born between the 11th and 20th get theirs on the 3rd Wednesday, and those born after the 20th are paid on the 4th Wednesday. SSI recipients, however, get their payments on the 1st day of each month unless that date falls on a weekend or holiday, in which case the payment arrives early. This schedule is clearly shown in the new chart, helping seniors plan their monthly budgets. One new aspect worth mentioning is the updated earnings test limit for people who are still working while receiving benefits. For those under full retirement age, there's a cap on how much you can earn before your benefits are temporarily reduced. The new chart raises that limit slightly, meaning working retirees can earn a bit more before any reductions apply. This is an important update for seniors who are trying to supplement their income through part-time jobs or small businesses. It's also worth noting that Social Security's full retirement age has not changed, but the new chart includes a reminder of how early retirement affects your payout. Taking benefits at age 62 still reduces your monthly amount permanently compared to waiting until full retirement age or age 70. The new figures in the chart help people see side by side what those differences look like. For example, if your full benefit at age 67 is $2,000, claiming at 62 might only give you about $1,400 per month. These details matter now more than ever because inflation and healthcare costs continue to eat into every dollar. Behind these adjustments lies a much larger discussion about the long-term future of Social Security itself. The trust fund that supports the program faces projected shortfalls in the next decade unless Congress takes action. The new chart and payment updates don't fix that issue. They simply reflect the short-term adjustments needed to match current economic trends. Many experts warn that without legislative changes, future retirees could see benefit cuts or tax increases down the road. In this environment, it becomes crucial for seniors to know their numbers, understand how their benefits are calculated, and plan ahead. The Social Security chart is more than just a table of figures. It's a roadmap showing where your money comes from and how it changes year by year. If you take time to compare your current payment to last year's, you'll get a clearer picture of what's happening and why it might feel like your check isn't going as far as before. This year's chart is especially detailed, showing breakdowns by age, average earnings, and benefit category. It helps clarify why two people with similar work histories might still receive different amounts. It also shows estimated future payments for people who have not yet claimed benefits, offering a glimpse of what to expect depending on when they decide to retire. For younger seniors or those approaching retirement, these details are vital for making the right timing decision. As we move further into 2026, this new Social Security chart is more than just a set of numbers. It's a reality check for millions of Americans who rely on these payments to survive month after month. Many people are realizing that while the government reports an increase, their real spending power continues to shrink. This is because even a small dip in inflation doesn't automatically lower the prices that seniors face every day. Groceries, rent, gas, and medical care all remain higher than they were just a few years ago. So even though the COLA adjustment looks positive, in practical terms, it's barely keeping up with the rising cost of living. When seniors compare their 2025 and 2026 statements, many notice that the differences are minimal. A few extra dollars might show up, but after Medicare deductions, taxes, and household expenses, the improvement often disappears. This is why financial advisors across the country are urging seniors to review their benefit statements carefully this year. The new Social Security chart clearly outlines how small changes can have large impacts depending on your financial situation. The truth is that every single dollar matters when you're living on a fixed income. For many retirees, this new chart has brought some confusion and frustration. People who planned their budgets expecting a 3% increase suddenly find themselves short each month. For example, if you were expecting a $2,000 check to rise to $2,060, but it only reaches $2,040, that $20 difference per month adds up to $240 over the course of a year. It's not just about numbers, it's about the ability to pay for essentials, keep the lights on, and buy medication without cutting corners. And when your increase doesn't match inflation, it feels like a broken promise. One important reminder in this year's chart involves how Social Security calculates these increases. The adjustment is based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW. But this index doesn't perfectly reflect the spending habits of older adults. Seniors spend much more on healthcare, prescription drugs, and utilities, which rise faster than general inflation. That means even when inflation slows down, seniors may still feel squeezed because their biggest expenses aren't fully captured by the government's formula. This is one of the ongoing criticisms of how the COLA is determined, and it's why so many seniors feel the system isn't keeping up with real life. Another detail in the chart that deserves attention is the reminder about spousal and survivor benefits. Many widows and widowers depend on survivor benefits as their main income, and those amounts also change each year with the COLA adjustment. The new figures show the same 2% rise, but it's vital for families to know how those benefits are calculated. If your spouse passed away and you receive survivor benefits, your new payment should reflect the same increase as other beneficiaries, though the final number depends on what your spouse was receiving before they passed. The same applies to divorced spouses who qualify under Social Security's spousal benefit rules. Your payment will adjust as well. For married couples, understanding this chart can be a bit more complex because you might be comparing two benefits, yours and your spouse's, and trying to decide when each of you should claim. The new chart lays out side-by-side comparisons to help you see the trade-offs of claiming early versus waiting until full retirement age or later. Many financial experts still recommend delaying benefits if you can afford to, because waiting until age 70 increases your monthly payment significantly. This year's updated figures show just how much of a difference that waiting period can make over the long term. The chart also includes information about delayed retirement credits, which continue to grow by 8% per year for those who wait past their full retirement age. That means if you delay from age 67 to 70, your monthly payment could be nearly 25% higher. For some retirees, that extra amount makes all the difference in covering medical expenses or long-term care later in life. But waiting isn't an option for everyone, especially for people who depend on their benefits as soon as they become eligible. That's why the new chart encourages careful planning based on your own situation. Another key section of the new chart involves taxation thresholds. For 2026, the income limits that determine whether your benefits are taxable have not changed much. If your combined income, meaning your adjusted gross income plus half of your Social Security, exceeds certain limits, you may owe taxes on a portion of your benefits. This is a reality that surprises many retirees each year. The chart helps show exactly where those lines are drawn so you can prepare when filing your taxes. It's one more reason why the amount you think you're getting can differ from what you actually receive after taxes. Medicare, as mentioned earlier, remains a major factor in your take-home amount. The Part B premium increased again for 2026, although the exact rise varies depending on your income level. Higher income retirees pay a larger premium, and the new chart makes that clear by listing the different premium brackets. It's another example of how your benefit amount might look different than what your neighbor receives, even if you both get the same gross Social Security payment. The combination of income-based Medicare premiums and taxable benefits often confuses people, but it's all laid out in the fine print of this new Social Security update. It's also worth looking at the broader picture. The new chart highlights how average monthly benefits have grown over the past decade, but when adjusted for inflation, the real value has barely moved. Seniors today are receiving higher dollar amounts, but those dollars buy less. This is one of the main reasons advocates continue to call for reforms in how the COLA is calculated. Many are pushing for a shift to a senior CPI that better reflects the real costs faced by older Americans. So far, that change hasn't happened, but with the ongoing pressure from advocacy groups, it could become part of future Social Security reform discussions. For now, the best thing seniors can do is stay informed, check their statements carefully, and understand what these numbers mean for their specific situation. The Social Security Administration will send updated notices to beneficiaries outlining their new payment amounts. It's essential to review those notices line by line, ensuring your personal information and payment calculations are correct. Mistakes are rare, but they can happen, especially if you've had recent changes in your income, marital status, or Medicare coverage. If anything seems off, it's important to contact the SSA directly for clarification. One more thing to remember is that these payment changes take effect in January 2026, but the first checks reflecting the new amounts will arrive at different times depending on your benefit type. For example, SSI recipients will see their increased payments at the very beginning of the month, while Social Security and SSDI beneficiaries will receive them according to the standard Wednesday schedule. This timing can be confusing for people comparing their January payments to December's, so patience and careful tracking are key. Looking ahead, the new Social Security chart offers a glimpse of what's coming in future years. Projections show that as the population ages and more people retire, the average benefit amounts will continue to rise slightly each year, but unless the underlying formulas change, those increases will likely remain small. That's why understanding the details of each annual update is so critical. Each new chart is a reflection of where the economy stands and how policy decisions directly affect the lives of older Americans. Now, as we wrap up this breakdown, let's bring it all together. The new Social Security chart is not just a government update, it's a snapshot of your financial future. It shows how small changes in the economy, inflation, and policy can ripple through every aspect of your retirement income. It also reminds us that what you see on paper doesn't always match what you feel in your wallet. Between Medicare deductions, taxes, and rising costs, your increase might not feel like one at all. This is why it's so important to plan ahead, manage your budget carefully, and stay updated on every policy shift. Even a few dollars per month can make a big difference when you're counting on your Social Security to cover daily needs. The more informed you are, the better you can protect yourself and make smart choices about your retirement income. In the end, this new chart is a reminder of one simple truth: information is power. When you understand how your benefits work and what affects them, you take control of your financial life instead of being caught off guard by unexpected changes. The numbers may shift each year, but the goal remains the same: to make sure that every senior in America gets the support, respect, and security they've earned through a lifetime of hard work. So, as this new year begins, take a moment to look at your statement, understand the figures, and adjust your budget if needed. You've worked for these benefits and you deserve to make the most of them. And remember, staying informed isn't just smart, it's essential. Every update, every adjustment, and every new chart tells part of your financial story. Learn it, own it, and use it to protect your future. That's all for today's update. Stay safe, stay informed, and make sure you keep checking for the latest Social Security news and payment details. Every dollar matters, and knowing what's changing is the key to staying one step ahead.